So I want to read a passage in the Bible, and my Bible app is not loading. Shout out to the Bible app. No, we're good. Here we go. All right. Does anyone know David and Goliath? Yeah. Great story. All right. So basically, I'm just going to sum this up. I'm not even going to read it, so I apologize, God. I'm not going to read the Bible right now, but I'm going to sum it up. Okay, so there's a battle between the Israelites and the Philistines, right? You guys know this. And what they're doing is they're on, there's like two armies, two teams, and they're on different hills, or maybe it's like this. They're on different hills, and there's little common ground in the middle, and that's the battleground or the battlefield or whatever. So basically the Philistines, whatever, they've got this giant, right? Goliath. And it says in the Bible, literally in verse 4, it says, a giant nearly 10 feet tall stepped out from the line into the open. So Goliath's like 10 feet tall, right? And he goes out there and he's like, yo, like, who's gonna like 1v1 me? Like, I want to 1v1 someone. And if you win, then we'll be enslaved to you. And if we win, then you'll be enslaved to us, whatever. And so he's pretty much like 1v1ing, wants to get a challenge. Like, how many know if we were to 1v1 like LeBron, like that would be hard enough, but like a 10-foot person that literally can like crush your skull with their hand, that's insane. And this is in the Bible, so it's not like some myth. It's not some like random thing. You're like, oh, this will sound like a nice story. Like God's not like up there like, oh, let me like create this story. This like actually happened, a 10-foot tall person. And they're trying to 1v1 the Israelites and he's trying to show like them who's boss, right? And so basically everyone's scattered, and I just wanted to read this part. Where is it? In verse 11, when Saul, part of the Israelites, and his troops heard the Philistines' challenge, they were terrified and lost all hope. Crazy, right? They're like, okay, we have no match for this guy. He's literally like out of our league, and we don't know what to do. So they lost all hope. Like there was just no hope, right? So they're like already defeated, okay? And then later it says, okay, in verse 16, each morning and evening for 40 days, Goliath took his stand and made his speech. So practically, this guy for 40 days is coming out in the morning and being like, yo, who's gonna 1v1 me? For 40 days. Guys, the Israelites were afraid for 40 days. They let 40 days go by on their like battle campground and didn't do anything about it. And they're just like shaking in their boots, like trying to figure out like, what do we do, right? And we were just thinking about this, right? Like when the fight calls. And so basically the fight's calling and they don't know what to do. They're stuck and like they've already like defeated themselves practically because they're letting this time go by. Like imagine 40 days like existing in a crisis and not knowing what to do. Does that sound familiar at all? Quarantine, right? We got a giant in our society. We got a giant in our world right now. And sometimes it feels like we don't know what to do, right? And we're like sitting in quarantine. We're sitting in our homes being safe and all that good stuff for sure. But it kind of feels weird, right? It's like have we lost all hope? Like we've been in this journey. We've been in this season for so long, over a year now. Have we lost hope? Are we still camped on the hill, like trying to figure out, like, what do we do? Like, how do we face this giant? How do we face this giant of COVID? How do we face this giant of cancel culture? How do we face this giant of TikTok culture that tells you everything that you need to do in order to be cool? How do we face that giant, right? Like, what do we do? Not that I'm sure you guys aren't like, oh, I'm so intimidated, but I want to like challenge us a little bit to wake up to what's in front of us, to wake up to the battle that's in front of us and realize the world needs an answer. The world needs some heroes. The world needs some warriors that can stand up and face this giant and show the giant who's boss, right? And am I talking to anyone here? Yeah. Woo, woo. Love it. So I just think this story is so crazy. And so David, he's like with the sheep and like not with the army at all. He doesn't even know this is happening. He shows up because his dad's like, yo, your brothers are in this fight. Man, I'm out of breath. Why do I always get out of breath? I'm going to breathe for 1 second. All right, so David's dad is like, yo, go help your brothers out and bring them some food because they need it, right? And so David's like, cool. So he shows up. And then he sees everyone hiding, sees everyone like, scattered and like worried and stuff. And he's like, what's the vibe? And they tell him, we got this giant what's the vibe, right? We got this giant, right? And then David hears Goliath give his speech and he's like, what's up with this guy? And like David just shows up. He has no idea what's going on. He's just like, what's up with this guy, right? It literally says that in verse 28, it says like, I'll just summarize it. When David approached his brothers and was like, yo, what's going on with this guy? His brother literally mocked him and questioned him. His brother was like, yo, like, who do you think you are to like show up here and think that you can like say something or like show some confidence or whatever? Like, why aren't you with the sheep? Why aren't you, part of the flock that you're supposed to be with? Why aren't you doing your job? That's literally doesn't matter at all. It's irrelevant. Like, who do you think you are to show up here? So he's literally like, yo, bro, like, you don't belong here. Like, get out of here, right? And what's funny and ironic about that is David's actually like more confident and secure than his own brother, right? But I just think this is crazy that his own brother tried to shut him down from what he felt like, hey, like, I want to do something about this, right? And what I think about this that's so cool is sometimes, well, maybe this has already happened, or maybe on a regular basis you experience this, or you have this conflict that you encounter with different situations, but maybe there's that small voice in you that's like, hey, I want to stand up to this. I want to challenge this person that, that is speaking their mind and saying things so rudely and condemning people and condemning Christians or whatever it could be. I'm just giving off examples. But what if there's that still small voice that's like speaking to us and telling us like, hey, like, you can do something about this. But then we have our entire society and culture that's telling us no. Like, if you say that, canceled. If you do this, you're not cool. If you do this, you're lame. If you speak like this, you're a weirdo. If you go to church, that's so weird. We're not going to accept you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this brother was doing for David, and I feel like I resonate with that sometimes. Like, sometimes I want to do like big things for God. I want to be used by God, but sometimes our culture like quiets us down and we don't even realize it. We like go along with the trend. We're like, oh yeah, that is weird. Like, why would I post on my story that I'm at church? That doesn't make any sense. But maybe there's someone on the other side of that story that sees that you're at church and thinks, hey, like, you go to church? That's so cool. Like, how do I get involved? You know what I mean? So is this making sense? I just think that like people are going to always challenge us and make us feel really small and mock us. But what do we know about this story? David he wasn't fazed by it. He was like, I don't care. Like, if there's a need and I feel like I can do this and I've got like God on my side and behind me, then I can do something about this, right? So you guys know the story. Like, I'm not trying to act like you don't, but he shows up basically and pretty much just kills this giant Goliath with one stone to the head, and he dies. So obviously we know that. It's not like I like told you something really cool, but he does this with like ease, right? He just like, whoo, and then the guy like just comes tumbling down. It's crazy. Again, not trying to like sell it to you, like, what, isn't this story amazing? Like, have you guys not heard this? Anyways, you're probably like, what is happening? I had a Mountain Dew kickstart and it's making my hand shake. It's crazy. I don't know if it even worked. It probably did. Anyways, what did someone say? Someone was like, okay. I don't know. Anyways, so David defeats this giant with ease, right? And what's cool about this is it talks about how when Saul heard that David was trying to challenge the giant, that they tried to give him armor. They tried to give him, all this stuff, like, we'll put you in boots, we'll put you in a helmet. And it was so heavy for him because David's like, I don't know how tall he was, but let's just say he's like 4'1". I don't know. That's not his height. That's Brandon's height. Just kidding. I'm dead. All right. No, so David's like a smaller dude. He's obviously not 10 feet tall, right? And he's not even the average size of a soldier, of a warrior. Like, let's say an average warrior is 6 feet tall, right? And David can't fit in the armor. He can't fit in the stuff that they're trying to put on him. And so sometimes we think like, oh, like, well, I can't do anything in this crisis. I can't do anything in this world because I don't have this and I don't have this and I don't know these scriptures and I haven't been to church enough and I can't, like, I can't talk like Brandon can. I can't pray like Gallo can. I can't sing like Rachel can or Sophia. Like, we sometimes limit ourselves thinking that we need all of this armor and equipment when really the stuff doesn't even fit us sometimes because it's all about who we are inside. It's all about what God has deposited in us already without all of that extra stuff. And what we need to do is just be true to ourselves and step up. We got to revive this generation. We got to revive this culture that we've become so accustomed to. And I'm sorry to get all serious or, maybe like put you guys to sleep or whatever. But I want you to hear me that there's so much gold inside of every single one of you guys that you don't even realize yet, but that God has like deposited inside of you. The Holy Spirit is inside of you, and he's backing you in everything that you do. And you don't need to be this grand person that can stand on a stage and do all of this stuff. Like, if God can use me, then he for sure can use you. And you'd be like, oh, well, no, like, cause you're a dick owl and you have all this experience and you probably read the Bible every day. Well, what if I told you that, like, I don't have a ton of great experience? What if I told you that I am a pretty broken person and have an insane past? And obviously I've grown and I've worked on myself, I've improved myself, and I've gotten closer to Jesus over time. But I come from a broken place where I don't know anything. I used to be super insecure. I used to be so unconfident. I used to be so ashamed of who I was. I used to have this freaking like peach fuzz on my upper lip for so long, and I didn't even know how to use a razor. And I was like, what, like, oh, like life is so hard and all of this stuff. And I just wanted to stay quiet, stay hidden. And I'm not trying to be egotistical at all, but God's using me in my daily life, in my daily world. And it's only because, it's nothing to do with me, but it's only because I decided, you know what, I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna be used by God. And I think that there are people all around us that we know that are waiting for a David to step up, waiting for a JD to step up, waiting for an Andrea to step up and to help lead them to their destiny, to help lead them to the presence of Jesus, to help lead them to a place of hope, to a place of purpose, right? And all it takes is us being confident in ourselves and confident in Jesus, knowing he backs us 100% of the way. And we actually can contribute to our society. We can stand up to the TikTok culture. We don't have to conform to whatever we see and whatever we hear and whatever we think is the cool way to be. We actually have so much more to live, so much more to live for, so much more to contribute. But we need to realize it. And we can't be hiding on our hill and afraid of the giant. We have to know God's built us different. He's purposed us different. People are gonna try to normalize you. People are gonna try to make you normal, fit into the normal. And what's so cool is God is so like apart, like different from the normal, right? And when we step out of the custom, we step out of the current, we step out of the trend, we actually can do some really crazy things, and we actually can be an influence more than the influencers you see on TikTok that are just doing the same exact thing that everyone else is doing. You know what I mean? Is that making any sense at all? I feel like you guys are like, what is this guy on right now? I want to encourage you to be, and this is not going to be like super deep or anything, but I want to encourage you to be in the world, but not of it. Like you can be relevant. You can be, like you can wear the shoes you want to wear. You can wear the clothes you want to wear. You can talk the way you want to talk and all of that stuff. Be in the world. Yeah, cool. Because we're here, we exist. But don't be of the world. You don't have to operate the same way that everyone has to, or that everyone tells you have to. You don't have to conform to this certain type of person, like, this type of way, or like whatever. God created you like specifically for who you are and with a purpose that only fits you. And if we think about David, he didn't fit the soldier build. He didn't fit the size or the height. He didn't, have the skill to wield the sword and to, like do all this choreography or whatever. Like he just literally chucked a stone, like what he knew to do, and it killed the giant, and he conquered for everyone else. And it was this small person that had nothing to do with anything except just sheep, and he actually made an insane difference in his community and for his country, for his nation, just because he was like, you know what, God's on my side, I got this. Does that make sense? And I want us to feel that and to know that we can do that too. And so there's a scripture, 1 Timothy 4:12, you guys know this. Let no one despise or think less of you because of your youth, but be an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. And I love that because everyone, even David's brother, was despising him because of his youth and being like, who do you think you are? You can't do anything about this. We're not going to look to you to be our hero. We're not going to trust you to defeat this 10-foot person. But don't let those voices stop you. Don't let those voices dictate to you what you're capable of and what you can offer and how you can make a difference and how you can set people free and how you can be a light, how you can be a hope, how you can be an example for the people around you that are too scared to do it themselves. There are people in your world, in your life, in your school that are too scared to be who they actually are, and they need someone that can exemplify Jesus' character and love so that they can actually step into that freely and be like, wow, like I want to be like this person. Wow, I want to be like Avery. I want to be like Emily. Wow, I want to be like Sydney. You know what I mean? It just takes us not letting those voices of, oh, you're too young, or you're not significant enough, or you don't have 100 followers, or you don't have a million followers. Like literally that stuff like does not matter at all. Like God is so much bigger than your number of followers. And if we're just chasing followers, then we're in it for the wrong reason. So that's why we got to be in the world, but not of the world, right? So I hope this encourages you. I hope this helps you. The whole purpose of Revive is because we're letting this past year, this past season, dictate how we respond and how we act. And we've become accustomed to stepping back a little bit. We've become accustomed to watching stuff online, like, you know, oh, I'll go to church online or whatever. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not challenging your beliefs or anything like that, but don't let the outside dictate the inside. Don't let, you know, what you see on the outside dictate to you, oh, like, you can step back. You don't have to talk to God. You don't have to listen to worship music. You don't have to pray. You don't have to go to youth. You don't have to go to church because, you know, it doesn't even matter anyways. Clearly, we didn't have youth for a year or so, and you're fine. You know, don't let that pattern dictate how you respond in this season, because there's a need in this season. That's why we're causing revival. We're stirring revival so that we can wake up this generation from the sleepingness, and rise up to the purpose that God has for us. Does that make sense? So I hope that encourages you. I hope that blesses you. And I hope you feel like this is a place where you can grow, where you can be empowered. You can contribute, you know, because that's what we're all about. Champion Youth is about championing each other. And so being champions, but then also championing each other. And so that's what you guys are a part of. That's what we're here to do. So if you tap into that and you engage in that and you come to these events and you press in, and when we're singing and stuff, and we're singing When the Fight Calls, I'll pray in the fight and watch it turn, all of those things, like, let's think about what we have, right? David had a stone and a slingshot or whatever, and didn't compare it to anything else, all the other equipment, all the other armor, but he used what he had. So what do you have? What's inside of you? What are the gifts that you have that can make such a difference? Let's tap into that. And this could be a place that fosters that encourages that develops those gifts, that develops those skills, because God wants to use you. And he didn't bring you here for no reason. He didn't bring you here just because McDonald's or just because we have a birthday gift. Like, he brought you here for such a higher reason and a higher purpose. And when you realize that, when you start tapping into that, man, your life will change. And not only that, the lives around you will change as well. So that's it for me. So we can just give it up for Jesus. And thanks for the time. Thanks for the patience and my quirkiness and hyper attitude right now in spirit. But I just want you guys to know I love you guys so much and believe in you guys so much. And, if I had someone telling me that when I was your age, my life would be even better. But thank God that, there's grace and that, he made a way for me. But I want you guys to know that you are so lucky to have a strong church that you can be a part of, that backs you, that believes in you. We got pastors that care about you guys, that let us use this insane auditorium with cool lights and screens and equipment and all that stuff, because our pastors believe in the young generation. And so feel encouraged and feel backed, feel supported, and feel like this is a place for you to spring up, to sprout, to blossom, to flourish. And that's what we want for you guys. So is that cool? You guys all right with that?